Hey guys, Kevin here with etrailer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install the Empire Faucets RV kitchen faucet. So this faucet comes in two different colors. The one we chose for today is our brushed nickel. It also comes in black. You can choose whatever is going to look best with your sink and your kitchen setup. So the Empire Faucet here is going to be an ideal replacement for your outdated, ugly, or frankly just broken RV faucet. Obviously times are changing, so the old knob system here doesn't really look that easy on the eyes. Switching over to our newer faucet here with our adjustable head that we can slide around makes it a whole lot easier to do the dishes, clean anything that you may have while you're out camping, and just provides an overall better appeal. So our lever here can turn up and down for hot or cold. As you pull it out, it'll kick on the water. Obviously you can do a little bit of pressure or go the full way. Our nozzle right here has a button to switch from spraying mode just to standard faucet mode. And actually this holder you can pull right out of the way, go back and forth, clean stuff as needed, and easily switch. The head also will come up and down. It has a weight down on the inside that will help pull it back up into place so that when I put it back on here, it'll stick properly in place. One thing I do want to say is if you're experiencing any sputtering like that while you're using your faucet, you can go ahead and pick up one of our water pressure regulators, which just simply screws into your water inlet on your RV, and then your hose can hook into this side. It's got a back check valve and a little filter there so that no debris gets up inside of your water system, or if you're running off of a pump, you can go ahead and pick up an acclimator tank, which we also sell here at etrailer. So this installation is honestly very easy. Really, it's just taking off the old connections, putting on the new ones. The hardest part you're going to have here is just getting down inside your tiny little cabinet and getting up to those connections. Other than that, this is something you can easily do at home. All I needed was a Phillips head screwdriver and a Crescent wrench just to tighten up my connections, and that was it. So as you can see, our faucet in our RV today is obviously not working. The actual stem of the faucet is broken off, so we are going to start off our installation here by first removing our faucet. To do that, we first need to turn off the water because we don't want any water coming out. Obviously we already have it off since faucet is taken apart here a bit. And then we're going to get down under the sink and start loosening up our faucet base. As you can see with our older faucet here, all we have is these two water lines, and then the faucet's actually held down by these white screw-on rings here. Those you're just going to turn counterclockwise to get them off of the threads here, and then that'll loosen up our sink, or our faucet, so that we can pull it off. Some models you'll see will also have a ring in the center. This one doesn't, but our new one is going to. It's going to tighten down right here in the center. So let's go ahead and start taking off our water lines. So as you're taking these off, it's definitely best if beforehand you blow out your water line system just so that you don't have any water coming off. These pipes here are a little more rigid and kind of holding themselves up, but if you had some loose hoses, you could have a lot of water all over the floor that you'd have to clean up. So now that we got those water lines off, like I said, we're just going to twist these off and loosen up our faucet. All right, now that we have our clamps off, we can go ahead and pull off our faucet base. And this is also a time where you can come back and kind of clean up anything that may have gotten under the flange on here, or gasket, and just clean that all off. Get yourself a nice clean surface for it to actually set on so that you're not having any gaps or anything like that. All right, so with our new faucet, all of our hoses are going to go right down through this center hole. There's a weight right here which will help pull the faucet head back into place when not in use. We're going to have to actually take that off right now just so that we can get the hoses down in through the hole, because this is just a little bit too big. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off right now. It just simply got some screws, one on each side, that you're going to have to unscrew to take the weight off. And we'll set those to the side. And we can test fit our faucet in here. And make sure it actually fits before we go ahead and do anything else. So looks like we're going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back out now because we're actually going to have a base to go in here with it too that's going to cover up our holes. It's maybe a little tricky just getting them all back out though. So our base here is going to have a foam gasket. We're going to set that right on top here. This is what's going to end up covering those extra holes since we're going from 2 knobs and a faucet head to just the faucet head having all in one. So we're going to go ahead and slide our hoses through. It's a little bit easier if you do one at a time. Slide that down. Our ring right here has a rubber gasket on the bottom, which is going to prevent any water from leaking out onto the base here. Once we have that in place, we can drop it back down in the hole. All right, now that we're back down into the sink, I'm going to take my rubber gasket. I'm going to put it up through each of my hoses. Get it up onto our threads here. And then we can go ahead and take our washer. We're going to do the same thing. Not as easy getting around that connection point there. And now we can come with our threaded washer here. We're going to put the screws facing down. That way we have something to grip onto. And as we keep going, it's going to keep being a little bit difficult just because these washers are getting smaller. There we go. All right. Now we're going to pull our sink up tight and start threading on our washer here. Which can be a little bit difficult just to get started. You may need to have a second set of hands just up top holding your faucet in place. That way you can get a tight grip on it and start spinning your washer on here. All right, as I'm getting towards the end of tightening this down, like I said, you're definitely gonna wanna have a second pair of hands up top, kind of hold it in place because it does kind of spin a little bit. You wanna make sure it's sitting the right way. But you also wanna make sure that your base is covering both of these holes. And as you tighten this down, it's gonna be a little bit harder to spin that base. Once you get this how you want it, tight enough, you can go ahead and screw these screws just a little bit, just to kind of put some pressure up against that washer so that your threaded washer doesn't untighten at all. All right, and that should prevent this from backing off at all and causing your faucet head to be loose. So we can go ahead and start making our connections. This hose right here is gonna click right up into our other hose here. So this is where our water's coming in. This is running up to our faucet head, which is able to pull out and use the sprayer. So that simply just pops into place. As you can hear it click, we are going to take our hot water and our cold here. So our hot is going to be this tube right here. And luckily we can just reuse our connection. Let's tighten that back down. You may need to take just a crescent wrench or something to kind of hold on here. As you can see, these have some flat sides so that you can easily put a wrench on there to hold it in place while you're tightening down onto your connection point. All right, now that we have our connections made, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my weight back on. I'm going to have it on this side going up towards the faucet so that way it pulls it back down when we're not using it. This just has a little indentation for you to set right over the hose. Just got to line your holes back up and put your screws back in. All right, now that we've made sure it's nice and tight so that it won't slide down on the hose anymore, we can go up and test it out. As you can see, working just fine. So I think that about does it for our installation of the Empire Faucets RV kitchen faucet